Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Fish, and today is a very special day because I am finally going to be rereading ACOTAR, Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This vlog will be spoiler filled just because I don't think I can talk about anything without spoilers, just so you know. And I think it's okay because most of you guys, at least who watch me, has read the series, so hopefully that's okay because I really want to talk spoilers. So a bit of context: I actually read this for the first time in May 2019, and fun fact, this series, when I finished it, I really want to talk to someone, and then I found booktube, which was so crazy. And then in August 2019 I created my bookstagram, and then November 2019 is when I created my booktube. So it's because of this series really that I found booktube, and also this is going to be my first reread, so I'm a bit excited and also a bit nervous just because since then my, I guess, critical reading has come out a little bit more, and obviously this is not going to be perfect. But the second book is my favorite book of all time just because it has a lot of personal meaning to me. You might see some tears, I don't know. I don't easily cry in books. But yes, I'm very excited. And we're going to start with A Court of Thorns and Roses. So maybe I'll just give a little ranking. At the end of the video, we can see like my new ranking of the books. So I'll just move over here. So the first book that I really love obviously is A Court of Mr. Fury. The second one is A Court of Wings and Ruin. Third one is A Court of Frost and Starlight. I know it's a very unpopular opinion and a lot of people hate it, but I just love it. I really liked it because we just got to spend more time with our characters and we got extra character content. I love that. And obviously lastly, it's A Court of Thorns and Roses, my least favorite because there's less Rysand in that. And yes, I call him Rysand, not Rhysand. So if anyone's gonna get peeved about that, I'm sorry. It's just how I pronounce it. It's gonna be like that for the whole video because in my head when I first read it, it was Rysand. So I'm sorry. So that's my ranking, and we'll revisit that when I'm done. I think that's everything that I needed to say. So spoiler filled, very excited, gonna be very emotional as well. And yeah, let's get to reading. Hello. I'm here to give you an update on Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And I remember saying how this was on the bottom for my ranking when I first read it, and it's definitely going to be still at the bottom, okay, for this. And okay, so I think I gave it 4 stars the first time I read it, and I'm probably gonna give it the same, depends. So what I have problems about, so one, Farah is annoying me. She's very annoying in this book just because she is very insecure, and obviously rightly so. Her mom passed away. Her mom asked her to take care of her family. Her family is not really helping her, and she is trying her best to feed them and keep them alive, and they're just very ungrateful. So I get it, you know. She is very close-hearted. She's very insecure because she doesn't really have anything to be secure about, and she is very cautious of when she goes to the fairyland. And obviously there's this like stigma of the fae being very dangerous and all-powerful, and she's trying to escape them. And in your head it's like, Farah, like, you already said that they're all powerful and so scary, and yet you want to escape them. Do you really think you can do it? Like, it's so stupid. And also from what I remember with Court of Mist and Fury, you get more of a casual, relaxed, more dialogue and setting and just atmosphere as well, whereas in this one I feel like it's a whole different atmosphere from the second book, and I'm not really enjoying that atmosphere because it has kind of that regal vibe and not really a very casual vibe that A Court of Mist and Fury has, just because obviously in where we are, which is I think the Court of Spring, and with Tamlin and Lucian, the way they're dressed, the way they talk, it's just not very casual, if you get what I'm trying to say. It's very hard to describe what I'm experiencing, but But just know, in A Court of Mist and Fury, the atmosphere is way more different than in A Court of Thorns and Roses, just because of like where these things takes place. Also with her sibling Nesta. So Nesta is a bitch in here. And obviously the 5th book that's coming out is from Nesta's perspective. And I remember warming up to her in A Court of Frost and Starlight. So initially in Court of Thorns and Roses, she's a bitch. And also, this is for you, Alan, who did a rant, I guess, vlog for Court of Thorns and Roses. If you haven't checked it out, I'll link it down below for you. He pointed out how many times the word baldric was used in this book, and now I cannot stop seeing the word baldric. Oh dear God. Like, even when I first read it, I never noticed it, and now, like, every time the word baldric comes up, I'm like, oh God, Alan, thank you so much for pointing that out. But I definitely can agree, this is the weaker book in this series for sure. I'm not like not enjoying it, it's just I just want to get through it so I can get to my favorite book. Also, I chose a bookmark that is perfect for this. So it says, looking for my Rysand in a world full of Tamlins. So true. So I'm using this bookmark because it's right. I'm looking for my Rysand. Actually, no, I kind of found my Rysand. You know, that's why this book means so much to me, because it just reminds me of my own relationship, which is great. So yes, those are my thoughts so far. I'm actually at the part where she learns how to read and write, so that part is going to be interesting. I'm just looking forward to seeing Feyre grow, and obviously meeting Rysand, and watching her grow out of her shell and trying to find herself, and Rysand helping her. Oh, I cannot wait for that journey in the 2nd book. So probably the next time I'll check in is probably when they're like under the mountain, or like we meet Rysand for the first time. I don't know. You'll see me geek out for a little bit. Okay? So I'll see you later. Hello. Different day. Same shirt. And I'm here to update you. I am like halfway, page 198. And oh my God. Okay. So I stayed up till about 3 a.m. yesterday reading this, and I got to our part of meeting Rysand for the first time, and let me tell you, I squealed so much, and I could not stop having a stupid smile on my face. I wish you would have seen it, but it was 3 a.m. I didn't want to get out of bed and get in my camera, you know what I mean? So we meet Rysand at the fire festival, where there's this great rite and Tamlin has to release his energy out into the world. And Rysand kind of, I guess, rescues Feyre from these 3 fairies. And oh my God, he's just so beautifully written, and I just love him. I love him so much. If you can't tell. Can you tell? Can you tell? So after reading that, I kind of peeked ahead to see when's the next time we'll see him. And it's at page 234, I believe. And I cannot wait, seriously. So I'm enjoying seeing her come out of her shell and having witty banters with Tamlin, even though I don't like Tamlin. But I'm grateful that he is getting Feyre out of her shell, even though later he puts her back in. But for now, I'm really glad that Feyre is coming out of her shell. Now, let's go and read more Rysand content. Hello, I have a little update. I'm like on page 255, and I'm at the part where Feyre is now back in the human lands. Lucian and Tamlin are dealing with the blight and stuff like that. So Tamlin asked Feyre to go home back to her sisters. Obviously she doesn't want to, but she did, and now she's back in the human lands. To be honest, I actually kind of forgotten that she goes back to the human lands. And also another thing that I remember is that when I first read A Court of Thorns and Roses, I never really knew where the story was going, and I did not in my wildest dreams think that she would be going under the mountain and go through a series of trials. Like, I didn't think that was gonna happen. I'm still enjoying it, obviously, and I cannot wait for more Rysand content, as I said 100 times now. Hello. It is time for a little update. I am almost done. I am literally at the part where she is under the mountain and she's about to do her first trial with the worm. And I just wanted to comment that I can't take Farah seriously whenever, like, she's saying, like, how hopefully she can win against Amarantha. I mean, we've already been convinced that she is this all-powerful being. Obviously, I know that Farah wins, you know what I mean? But, like, let's say if I am reading it for the first time, yeah, and we're convinced that Amarantha is like this all-powerful being, and Farah's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna try all these trials and like figure out this riddle and see how I go. Hopefully I will like win somehow. And you're like, Farah, you're like a human. I highly doubt that you'll win. But obviously she does, and I'm like, how did, how did she do that? So hopefully with me rereading this, I'll see how she does it and see if I have to like suspend my disbelief on how she does things, or like be like, okay, Farah, like you're a hunter, so you know how to do shit and like your reflexes are good, but like, are they that good? You know what I mean? So it's just sometimes I can't take Farah seriously. So yeah, let's finish this and then I'll come back and talk to you about it. Hello. It is very late, actually, so I just finished A Court of Thorns and Roses. It was very good. I think this reread was better than I expected, at least for this book, that is. I think originally I gave it a 4-star, and I think upon reread, just getting some like Easter eggs and like just seeing how Farah really grew out of her shell, phase 1, and then she went downhill after the trials. It's just really interesting to see how, like, what she goes through, and just her emotional roller coaster ride, and also seeing Easter egg hints of Rysand and Farah. I think those were probably my favorite things when I reread this. So before I mentioned that with the trials, I said I would probably have to suspend my disbelief of how Farah did through the trials, and I'm surprisingly wrong, because the first and the third one she actually used her noggin, which is great. Go Farah. And obviously the second one, Rysand helped her, and that was great. I think it was very, I guess, logical, or just, it wasn't over the top and it wasn't unrealistic. So I definitely appreciate that. And also the third trial is very dark. I think Sarah J. Maas really did that well, and obviously we explore more of that, I guess, PTSD and guilt in the second book, which from what I remember was done pretty well, and we shall see again when I continue on with the second book. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed A Court of Thorns and Roses. The one thing that I didn't enjoy is seeing Farah and Tamlin together. I am obviously very biased with Rysand, but with this reread, I definitely appreciate Tamlin more. He, in his own way, did really love Farah, and he did his best as he could, that is, to help and save Farah. I mean, he didn't do what Rysand did and just like lunged at Amarantha, but no, Tamlin just sat there and just begged. You know, he didn't actually do anything. I'm sorry. Like I said, biased for Rysand. Okay, I can't think rationally when it comes to Rysand. But yes, I really enjoyed this reread. Now, I am so excited to jump into A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm so excited. I'm a bit scared as to whether it would hold up now, just because I kind of, I guess, grew up or moved on from that part of my life when I first read it. I know it's like only 2019, but I've come a long way since 2019. So I hold this book in a special place in my heart, and I am going to read this as slowly as possible and enjoy every morsel of my reread. Okay, I'm going to start this now. Sorry if the lighting is shit and I need to keep my voice down because it's very late and Sam is sleeping. So what I wanted to say is that I'm only on page 14 and already I hate Tamlin. If you've read this, you know that Tamlin becomes a huge controlling douchebag. And I get why he's a controlling douchebag. Because of what happened under the mountain, he wants to keep her safe and he doesn't want her to go through that again. But ignoring what happened to Farah and to himself, like with the first scene or whatever, that Farah has a bad dream and he doesn't wake up. He has great hearing. I highly doubt he doesn't know that Farah's having a nightmare and she's vomiting and he just doesn't do anything. Like, that kind of thing just pisses me off sometimes. I do not like controlling douchebags. Tamlin wants everything to go back to normal, but it's not going to go back to normal because it's not normal anymore. Like, the things that happened to Farah are literally going to stay with her forever because she's immortal now. And pretending that it didn't exist or letting it fade away is not the way to do it. And we see later that Rysand and helps her to deal with it by actually dealing with it. But yeah, and also I'm at the part where we meet Iante. That lady, I hate her so much. I hate her so much with a passion. Obviously, if you've read the series, you know Iante. And, oh my god, she's such a bitch. I hate her so much. So much. But yeah. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Hi guys. The next day, if it looks like it's the same day, it's not. It's the next day, and I am on page 126, as you can see. I just really love it. Don't mind the background sound. It's just Sam showering. But anyway, I'm really loving this. So I'm basically at the part where Farah has her little panic attack and Rysand takes her to the night court. And I really, really feel for Farah, and watching her go down this PTSD depression spiral is really making me feel for her. And like, I can relate in some aspects of it. Just more of the, I guess, Tamlin controlling her movements and what she does and everything. It's like the controlling aspect, I can understand that. And obviously because of what Tamlin does to Farah, which is basically preventing her from doing literally anything and just protecting her when she has the ability to do so. He's just too scared to allow her to do anything, and that is not fair on Farah, even when he says that Farah has given enough. But Tamlin hasn't given enough, in my opinion. And Farah has given literally everything. She has gone through some shit. I know Tamlin has gone through some shit, but Farah literally went through some shit, and he just sat in the sidelines. And yeah, sure, he went through emotional trauma of seeing someone he loves go through all that, but Farah actually did go through all that. So instead of locking her out and protecting her in this little bubble and suffocating her and like trying to understand why she's so afraid and depressed, he's just like Farah, sweeping it on the rug and pretending everything should go back to normal. And obviously our boy Rysand understands where Farah is coming from, as he has experienced it for 50 years now. And he's trying to help her, but not suffocating her. He is allowing her, or at least showing her, that she has the freedom to do whatever she wants. Whereas back in Tamlin's yard, she doesn't have a choice whatsoever. And even if she did have a choice, it's the illusion of choice. Pick the worst or the worser, you know what I mean? So a big part of this book is the freedom of choice, which is something I value highly in my life, which I never really had, to be honest. I've always had that illusion of choice. Oh god. It's a very emotional book for me, so I thought I was gonna cry in this vlog because of this, but I didn't think it was that soon, because I'm barely even halfway. So, like I said, this reminds me of, Rysand and Farah really reminds me of my relationship, because I actually have the freedom of choice and my partner respects
obviously my choices and supports me in any shape or form of what I want to do. He's always there for me. Just that type of thing. It reminds me a lot of my situation. That's why this book means so much to me. Oh dear God. Okay. Anyway, I really feel for Farah, and I know she's going to come out a beautiful person with a beautiful partner at her side, and it is told very, very beautifully. I am looking forward to Farah going to Valaris for the first time. It is a sanctuary that I wish I could go every single day. And I actually named my Discord server the Night Court, and I've named everyone that joins a Valarian. So yeah, if you want to check out my Discord, by the way, link will be down below for you to check out. We do monthly buddy raids, mainly trying to focus on like series, but that's besides the point. If you want to join my Discord, link will be down below. But anyway, I'm going to continue on my emotionally filled journey. So thank you for watching this emotional roller coaster.
Hello, I am now on page 182, so you can see just there. And I just wanted to show you my bookmark. It's so pretty. Okay, so just a little update. So Tamlin did a boo-boo, and he locked up Farah, and Farah freaked out and had a panic attack. And Raisan took her to the night court up in the mountains, and she wanted to go with him, so he took her to Valaris, the city of Starlight. Oh my god, I love that place. Like, I have the whole city in my head, and whenever I feel down or anything like that, I just think about that place, and it always lifts me up. And I'm having the best time because it's actually a cold day today, and it's raining, and it's cozy, and just with that atmosphere and also reading about Valaris, it's just making me so happy. Like, you have no idea. It just makes me so happy and so calm. I haven't been this calm since the last time I read this book. Like, I have been riddled with anxiety for so long now. And just reading this book and about Valaris just makes me so happy. It really does. And I'm at just after the part where Feyre meets Cassian, Azriel, Emran, and more, and they have this family dinner, and they each talk about how they met. And I loved hearing their stories and how they all have pain in their hearts and they can relate to one another. And Feyre, hearing those stories, she realizes she's not alone. They have all been through pain, and they understand each other's pain. And all that one scene where Feyre asks, or someone asks, like, how did they manage to keep Valaris out and unknown to everyone, especially Amarantha, and everyone went quiet. And obviously there was a scene where Cassian is just looking at Rhys with like guilt and love. Oh, that really breaks my heart, seriously. The love of the inner circle is something that I really want one day. I just haven't found my inner circle, and this is the epitome of found family trope that I absolutely love. And I think I mentioned before with the whole atmosphere between A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury, I can definitely confirm that the atmospheric change is so different and is so much better in this compared to A Court of Thorns and Roses. So let's say if you did read A Court of Thorns and Roses and you did not like it, I guarantee you would like the second book because the writing is also different. The atmosphere is more dark, more cozy, more, I guess, romantic as well. Obviously this is known for its romance and not exactly the plot, and it's just beautifully told. So I think I'm at the part where they're going to meet the bone cover, which is sooner than I remembered, really. And I am excited because the bone cover is about to appear as something. Actually, I can mention it because I'm doing a whole spoiler for the whole series, so it's not only Court of Mist and Fury. So basically, the bone cover is going to appear as their future child, which is really great, but also scary at the same time. At least that's what I remember him forming into. I have to read it to make sure that it is what it is. I'm having the best time. I don't know why I waited this long to reread it. I think it's because I was scared to reread it and not love it anymore, but obviously that is not true. So that's where I am. Those are my thoughts, which are all very, very positive. I'm sorry. I feel really weird because all my thoughts are going to be positive, and I don't have in-depth thoughts. I'm just literally going to say over and over again how much I love this. So I'm sorry. And like I said with the Instagram poll, most of you wanted the vlog, so here you are. Okay, cool. I will talk to you in a little bit. Hello, me again with another update. It's actually the same day. I just put on a hoodie. And I have gone through the book a lot quicker than I thought. I am literally halfway through the book, page 307. I think when I updated you last, I was on page 180, so I definitely flew through this book, and I am really enjoying it, obviously. And I'm basically at the part where Feyre is not totally healed, but she's getting there. And at first I thought it was Rysand that helped her get through it, but it's actually all of them. More Amren, Cassian, Azriel, all of them helped her get through it. Obviously Rysand more so than anyone, but all of them helped her get through it and just try to find that light and fight within her. And she has. She's been training with Cassian, and Cassian understanding the blood on her hands, and obviously Rysand. He can relate to it because he has been with Amaranta for 50 years, and he did unspeakable things, and so did Feyre, and they both understand each other's pain. We passed the Weaver scene as well. That one's hilarious. Just at the end, obviously not during, but at the end of the scene where she stumbles upon Rysand and she just hissed at him and be like, "You," and then he just laughs and takes her back to Valaris. It's just very, very funny. And I loved seeing them go out on the town in Valaris. I always picture Valaris as like an Italy town, like all brick road and brick buildings and like rivers and bridges, that kind of thing, or Amsterdam, sorry. I just picture that in my head whenever the book describes Valaris. And oh yes, I just forgot that Feyre, Rysand, Cassian, and Ezreal, they went to the human realms, and Cassian met Nesta. I am really excited for the new book after seeing just like them go head to head, just like temper versus temper. I definitely want to revisit how Nesta is after she turns into a fae. I think she may have lost a little bit of her fire from what I remember, and Cassian is trying to get that fire out again. So I'm very excited for the new book to see how that develops. Obviously, I'm just biased and want more Feyre and Rysand content, but I am excited for this new chapter, and I'm excited to see what Sarah J. Maas does with this dynamic, and I'm sure she'll do such a great job as she's done with everything in all of her series. Character work is literally the bread and butter for Sarah J. Maas. She does her characters so well, characters' emotions especially so well. So yeah, I'm definitely going to continue, even though it's a little bit late, but I'm just going to stay up and read because I got nowhere to go. Hello. It is the next day, and I am on page, where am I? Page 453. I only have that much left, and yeah. So Sarah is, I guess I won't say fully healed, but she's healed enough to focus, I guess, on her relationship with Rysand. I'm at the part where I think Starfall has ended. That was a great scene. I've always had that scene in my head. Like, it just pops up from time to time, and I just think of that beautiful scene with the, I guess, shooting stars, but they call it spirits. But yes, that scene was very beautiful, and I absolutely love it. I loved when they both get hit with the stardust and they both start laughing, and she smiles and he says, "You're exquisite," and because she hasn't smiled for him or at him, and that was a very beautiful moment. I won't lie. Also, not gonna lie that I teared up a lot during this past couple of chapters, just because everything is just so beautiful. Sorry, I just had to change my battery because it died. But anyway, as I was saying, God, I look horrible. It's just because it's very rainy and very humid, as you can see in Perth right now, which is great reading weather, but not great for everything else. And anyway, I'm loving it, and I am on chapter 46, I think. Yeah, so very close to chapter 55. I don't know if I'm going to film my reaction for it because it's kind of weird filming me react to a steamy chapter. I think it's just weird. I don't know what else to say, to be honest. It's just that everything's beautifully told. I am enjoying it clearly, and I'm in love, and I'm in heaven. And I do not want to finish my reread of this, but I'm gonna have to because obviously I need to move on to the third book and the novella, so it's in time with the release of A Court of Silver Flames, and also I have other books to read, so I need to get a move on. Hello, I have finally finished A Court of Mist and Fury, and I really enjoyed it, and oh my god, Farrah being a high lady is just goosebump worthy moment. It's just so good. So yes, I finished this. And obviously it's a 10 out of 10 in my cop pile. Everything 10 across the board. It is 5-star. We are not surprised, obviously. I don't want to be repetitive because I think I've told my thoughts about how I feel about this book and what this book means to me. So I won't go into too much detail, just to, I guess, reiterate that I read this book when I was in a dark place and Farrah was in a dark place at the beginning of the book. This book helped me get out of the dark place, and also obviously Rysand and Farrah's relationship reminding me of my own relationship and how also my partner helped me out of the dark place. So this book obviously means a lot. Because of that, I will always be grateful for A Court of Mist and Fury forever and ever. So yeah, done with this. Now I am going to read A Court of Wings and Ruin. I think I'm on literally chapter 1. I read like this couple of pages that is from Rysand's perspective of like during the human versus fairy war back in the day. So that was literally the first few pages that I read. So I'm very excited for this book. I know that a lot of people didn't like A Court of Wings and Ruin, which is fine. I thought it was still good, better than ACOTAR in my opinion, just because of all the Rysand and Farrah and like the inner circle content in here and how they work together and like try and fight the war and stuff like that. That's cool. I do have a few problems, which I will let you guys know as we go on the reread. So yes, let's get into this bad boy. I'm pretty sure this is like 700-ish pages. Yeah, 700 pages. So let's get into this.
Hello, welcome to another episode of hearing the shower go on while I update you on A Court of Wings and Ruin. So it's been a couple of days now, and only yesterday that I really read, and I'm up to page 156, chapter 16. And just looking at Farrah toppling down the system with her badassery and just doing it so smartly as well. And there were a couple of times I couldn't take her a bit seriously, just because it's me and like I know how Farrah was in the first book, and I couldn't take her seriously then. So it's just like that kind of lingering thoughts. But she did so well. Good job, Farrah. And also Lucian as well, seeing how he has changed since the first book. It's very, very interesting. And when Farrah is reunited with Cassian and Azrael in that battle between Lucian's brother and Lucian, that was epic. I know this is like a book full of war, but that scene was epic. And like she tells them to stop, and they stop, and then she tells them like, I am the High Lady of the Night Court. So good. So good.
And also her reuniting with Rysand, that was very, very sweet. And the most heartbreaking moment was Farrah visiting Elaine and Elaine being so empty. That was very, very sad. I don't quite remember how Elaine changes. I don't quite remember, so I'm very interested to see how she changes and if she just becomes a little bit whole again. I don't really remember if she does or not, so we'll see. And Nesta, wow, that girl has anger in her. It's like amplified. And I like how Cassian is that bucket of water that dumps on her fire and tells her to sit the hell down. You don't know anything. You can't defend yourself for shit. So calm down. I like that. I like that dynamic. I think I said before that it's going to be an interesting pairing to see in A Court of Silver Flames, just because obviously I'm very biased towards Feyre and Rysand, so I don't know how I'm going to feel with Cassian and Nesta being the main characters in the next book. So we'll see. And I think I mentioned that I'm going to do a spoilery vlog for A Court of Silver Flames, so look out for that as well. Excited to see how it all ends. Even though I know how it all ends, I'm still excited to see anyway. Why, hello there. I am like 3/4 of the way, 460 pages into A Court of Wings and Ruin, and I haven't been really updating too much, just because this book is a very plot-driven book, obviously, because of the war and everything, so there's not really much character stuff. Obviously there is character stuff, but not much as like the second book. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the High Lord meeting. God, what a time that meeting was. I was so freaking frustrated, but also proud of Feyre and Nesta, but also so irritated and frustrated just because of like Baron, the Autumn Court King or High Lord, and obviously Tamlin as well. Oh my god, Tamlin. He's so frustrating. Such an idiot too. Like, he thinks he knows everything, but no, he's an idiot, and I do not like him. I get where his feelings are coming from, but still, to say things like that is not excusable, to be honest. And also the reveal that Lucian is Hilion's son. Like, I forgot that detail. Like, there's a lot of things that I forgot that happens in this book. Just because there's a lot of things that happens in this book because of the war and everything, and like I said, it's plot focused. So there's a lot of details that I forgot, especially Lucian, and also where Lucian went, which is to go find Queen Vasa, I think that's her name. So I forgot that detail as well. And what I've been doing with my reread for this book is to focus more on Nesta, just because obviously with the new book, it's about her, and I want to focus on her character and get a grip of how her character is and how she works and how she feels, how she thinks, and her interactions with everyone, especially Cassian. That was that one scene where after the little war session or battle in the summer court, and Cassian had to go and do some stuff after the war, and obviously Nesta was just worried about him. And when they both meet just before they go to the High Lord meeting, they had that little moment where they literally did not break eye contact and they just talked. That was cool, I have to admit that. And it will be very, very interesting to get Elaine's perspective in the new book, and also Cassian's perspective as well. I think we're getting Cassian's perspective. I've just tried to stay away from like spoilers or any details about the new book, just because I want to go in blind and just experience it. So I'm not sure if there's a Cassian perspective as well. That would be cool. Nesta is a badass bitch who is dealing with her trauma, but is also a bitch, which is inexcusable in itself. I know a lot of people hate Nesta because she's a bitch. I get that. I totally get that. I can see that. I just understand where she's coming from, especially with her trauma and how she was, I guess, raised, and her personality before she became a fae. So she has to like do that switch into who she has to become now, and also be trusting of everyone in Valaris and in the Night Court. And obviously that doesn't come easy to her. And I can see that so far where I'm at, that Nesta is, I guess, looking at Feyre's actions, and Feyre is setting that example for Nesta to follow, which obviously she did because she came to the meeting and she spoke briefly about her experience, which led to some alliances and stuff like that, which is very cool of Nesta, and also, like, I'm proud of her for doing that, for coming out of her shell a little bit and trusting and doing something about it instead of just sitting there and sulking and let everyone else do it for her. So I'm going to read some more. I'll probably update you when I finish, to be honest, unless I have like something pressing to say, but I'm pretty sure I'll just update you when I finish, because I don't really have much thoughts about Coat of Wings and Ruin, except it's very, again, plot-based. The war is going on. I really like the whole, like, battle strategies that we're seeing for the Night Court. I read a lot of adult fantasy, or I did read a lot of adult fantasy, so I know and really like battle scenes. I can picture them in my head, and I can see, like, the fluidity of the battle. And with this, obviously, it's not as fleshed out as the battle scenes in other adult fantasies, and obviously this is like a YA new adult fantasy, but Sarah J Maas knows how to paint the picture and describe things very well, so she did well with the battle scenes and everything, but obviously not as good as I'm used to with all the other adult fantasy. Okay, bye now. Hello. I have finished Court of Wings and Ruin, and obviously I give it 5 stars. I just had a really good time seeing how all of them work together and create this whole plan to defeat the war, and also all the other courts with the High Lords and like their powers and like their type of like culture and politicking and stuff like that. That's really interesting to read about, because obviously I didn't remember all the details about it, so it was really cool relearning that detail again. And obviously this book has Here Comes the Cavalry trope, which I absolutely love, and Sarah J Maas does it best in my opinion, and I teared up when that happened. The part I teared up the most was Nesta, Elaine, and Farah realizing that their dad brought Vasa, the queen. He felt bad for not doing anything when they were starving and literally trying to survive, and he made up for that by literally bringing an entire army. So that was sad also when he died. Another reason why it's so tragic, because he didn't really get to like make amends with them properly, you know, like talk to them and stuff, like with Nesta. Like, I think I remember saying that I have a few complaints about this one and why I don't like this book as much, critically speaking. So with this, the stakes were high, but it did not stick. So for the end, obviously you know that Rysand dies, right? And when I first read it, I was like, this is not happening, because Rysand is the main character. Obviously he comes back, and I don't particularly like character resurrection, just because it kind of takes away that emotional impact and that high raised stakes that she managed to do with this book. So I didn't like that part. Obviously I love Rysand and I don't want to see him die, but to include that, because it's obviously not going to happen, she should have just kind of taken it to a different direction instead. You know, don't pull your punches, just go for it. Kill me, rip me apart. I'll put this in the second place. So A Court of Mist and Fury, then this, then ACOTAR, and then now I'm actually going to read A Court of Frost and Starlight. I remember enjoying this because obviously I'm here for the characters, and this is literally a character-based book, not really a plot, because it's kind of a setup from what happened from A Court of Wings and Ruin, and it's a setup for the Nesta Cassian book, Court of Silver Flames. This is definitely a step above ACOTAR, so I think this will probably go in the third place. We'll see when I read this. So it's not going to take me too long, so, and I have time tonight to read, so we'll see how I go with this. Okay? Okay. Talk to you later. Hello, friends. I have finished A Court of Frost and Starlight. It didn't take me very long. I listened to the audiobook while I was reading this, so I finished it. It was a really, really good time. I love seeing all the characters just bonding over Solstice again, and Rysand and Farah. And this being kind of I think maybe the last book that will get their perspectives. I'm not sure if we have their perspectives in like the next coming books. I don't know. But for me, I feel like this is like, I guess their end, because their whole arc is like completed, because obviously they decided in this that they want to have a baby together, which is so damn sweet. And I cannot wait for the day where they actually do, because they will be great parents, and I'm very, very happy for them. I truly am, even though they're fictional characters. I'm happy that they're happy. I really am, because they've been through a lot of shit together. So yes, I know this is like a literally just character based, because obviously it's a small novella. There's no plot whatsoever, like zero. Me looking at Nesta's character, she was a big ass bitch in this, like a big ass bitch. And yes, she's gone through trauma, but I feel like this is more severe, like her reactions are more severe and more bitchy, I guess, than when she got turned into Faye. So I don't know how she's gonna get out of this attitude, because I cannot deal with it. Like seriously, it's infuriating. Like I could deal with her in Court of Wings and Ruin, but I cannot deal with her in here, and she was barely in here anyway. So hopefully she'll be at least better, or there's some development in the new book. So I gave this 5 stars. There's like no surprise there. So these are the books that I just read for this vlog. Let's go through, I guess, the ratings for this. So 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, and 5 stars. Like, no surprise, they're all 5 stars. And the ranking, let me just do that. Alright, so Court of Mist and Fury at the top, Court of Wings of Ruin, God of Frost and Starlight, and then ACOTAR. It's my least favorite. So that's the ranking for that. So if you've watched all of the vlog, I thank you so much for watching, because I've been talking about it so much and I want to hear your thoughts about the series, if it means anything to you, if it doesn't mean anything to you, you just had a really, really good time, who's your favorite characters, and what was your favorite moment, what was your least favorite moment. Just let me know down below. I would love to chat with you down there. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!